There is a specific moment in life that almost everyone considers the ultimate finish line. It is the day you walk up to your front porch, slide the key into the lock, and hear that satisfying click for the first time. It is the day you get the keys to your first home. For many, it feels like the official confirmation of financial success and personal maturity. You have the stable job, you have the years of savings, and now you have the white picket fence that society promised you. Your internal narrative tells you that you have finally made it, and that you are now on the right track toward a secure future. But what if I told you that for the majority of families, that front door is actually where an invisible ceiling begins to form? What if that feeling of stability is the exact moment your financial growth starts to stall and eventually level off? In this video, we are going to look at the hidden reality of wealth creation that most people miss until it is far too late to change course. We will explore why your home might be trapping your net worth in a cage of wood and brick, and how you can break through that ceiling to build true exponential wealth. Let us begin with some hard facts from the Federal Reserve that paint a sobering picture of the average American household. The median net worth for a household in the United States is about $192,000. On paper, that sounds like a milestone of responsibility and a sign of middle-class stability. But here is the part that surprises most people when they look closer at the data. The vast majority of that wealth is not sitting in cash, it is not growing in stocks, and it is not even in retirement accounts. It is tied up almost entirely in home equity. Nearly all the wealth that the average family has spent decades building is locked inside the walls of their house. The problem is a simple matter of liquidity and cash flow. You cannot use your kitchen cabinets to pay the electric bill when you retire. You cannot use the drywall in your living room to buy groceries or fund a dream vacation. Unless you sell the home, downsize to a much smaller space, or take on the risk of more debt, that equity remains just a dead number on a piece of paper. This is the beginning of the plateau, a quiet financial desert where progress feels steady but leads nowhere. Because that one single asset grows slowly at the rate of inflation, your entire financial life begins to move at that same slow pace. Most people reach this stage not by being reckless, but by following simple and responsible common sense habits. They went to college, they learned a trade, they built a career, and they avoided the most destructive financial mistakes like gambling or extreme debt. They pay their bills on time, they keep their credit scores high, and they stay away from high interest loans. They feel stable, they feel comfortable, and they feel like they are doing everything right. This is the classic middle-class path, the one our parents and grandparents told us was the secret to a good life. It is predictable and it is safe, but this level of progress alone will almost never lead to true financial freedom. When you buy a home, it is a massive emotional achievement that validates all your hard work. In the early years of ownership, the numbers can look absolutely incredible on a spreadsheet. A home purchased with a relatively small down payment can appreciate just a little bit, and your net worth suddenly jumps more than it ever has before. That initial jump creates a powerful psychological illusion that the heavy lifting of wealth building is finally over. But that sense of achievement often leads to a subtle but critical problem in your financial mindset. When you believe you have already reached the main goal, you stop being intentional about further growth, you stop pushing forward, you stop learning about markets, and you stop focusing on long-term accumulation. The house becomes the only real asset contributing to your future, while everything else in your portfolio stalls out. Your savings plateau at a few months of emergency funds, and your investments barely exist or grow at a snail's pace. And because home appreciation is usually steady and not dramatic over decades, your financial life enters a quiet leveling off. There is a massive missed opportunity here that almost everyone overlooks because they are focused on the monthly payment. When you own a home, your housing costs become relatively predictable compared to the rest of the world. Your mortgage principal and interest payment is fixed for 30 years, protecting you from the rising tide of inflation. While rent prices outside your door climb steadily by 5 or 10% every single year, your main expense stays flat. After 10 or 15 years, the gap between what you pay and what a renter pays becomes a huge financial advantage. That predictability creates a unique and rare window of opportunity to invest the difference. The money you are saving compared to the rising costs of the world should be redirected immediately into assets that grow. Yet for the vast majority of homeowners, that reinvestment almost never happens. Instead of putting that extra cash to work in the market, it gets swallowed up by a phenomenon called lifestyle inflation. It does not happen overnight with a single big purchase. It is subtle, it feels harmless, and it feels normal because everyone in your neighborhood is doing the exact same thing. The house needs new furniture to fill the empty rooms, and the backyard needs an expensive deck for summer parties. You trade up to a nicer luxury car with a higher monthly payment because it looks successful in the driveway. Vacations become more frequent and more expensive because you feel like you have earned the right to relax. Without a clear and disciplined plan, the dollars that could have grown into millions of dollars are spent on short-term comfort and social status. This is the moment the invisible ceiling hardens and becomes almost impossible to crack. Investing now feels difficult or even impossible because your money is being consumed by the very lifestyle you have built to show off your success. The hidden costs of maintaining that home also act as a silent leech on your potential wealth. Property taxes rise, insurance premiums skyrocket, and the roof eventually needs a $20,000 replacement. Many homeowners find themselves house-rich but cash-poor, struggling to maintain the asset that was supposed to set them free. Imagine a couple in their early 30s who just bought a $500,000 home with great pride. Instead of increasing their investment contributions as their income grows, they focus on upgrading their interior design. They spend their weekends at home improvement stores and their bonuses on new appliances. Over the next 20 years, their net worth barely grows outside of the natural appreciation of their home. When they reach age 60, they look at their bank accounts and wonder why they cannot afford to stop working. They realize too late that a paid-off home cannot provide the monthly income needed to fund a 30-year retirement. This is the invisible ceiling in action, a trap built of comfort and social expectations. Early on, you feel rich because of the power of leverage, using the bank's money to buy a large asset. But as you pay down the mortgage over time, that leverage decreases and your own capital is locked away. Your money is tied up in a property that historically only grows at about 4% per year, barely beating inflation. So how do you push past this ceiling and escape the middle-class plateau? It comes down to one single thing: disciplined and consistent investing in assets that exist completely outside of your home. The best time to start this journey is immediately after you buy your home, when your income is stable and your expenses are set. This is the moment real wealth growth should begin, not the moment it should stop. You must direct your focus toward assets that compound, like standard market index funds, diversified stocks, or even rental properties. You must take full advantage of tax-deferred accounts like the 401k or individual retirement accounts every single year. These are the choices that build wealth exponentially, where your money starts making more money than your job ever could. Many people fall into the trap of believing they have to choose between a good lifestyle today and a wealthy future tomorrow. But that is a false choice that keeps people broke. The households that escape the invisible ceiling do one simple thing differently. As their income rises through promotions and career growth, their investments rise alongside their lifestyle in a balanced way. They might upgrade their house eventually, but they also upgrade their future contributions at the exact same time. Home ownership should be seen as a stable foundation for your life, not the final milestone of your financial journey. Breaking the invisible ceiling requires a fundamental shift in your strategy and your identity. You must move from the mindset of a consumer who relies on home equity to the mindset of a long-term investor. The difference between hitting the ceiling and building true exponential wealth is simply time, discipline, and consistency. If you start today, even if you can only manage a small amount, the power of compounding will start working for you instead of against you. Imagine investing just $500 a month into a standard market index fund that tracks the top 500 companies. Over 30 years, that consistent habit can grow into over $1 million of spendable liquid wealth. That is wealth you can actually use to travel the world or support your family without selling your roof. That is freedom you can actually feel in your daily life because you are no longer a slave to your mortgage. Do not let your home be the only driver of your net worth or the only legacy you leave behind. Wake up to the hidden reality of the invisible ceiling and make the conscious decision to push through it today. Your future self will thank you for the quiet discipline and the difficult choices you make right now. Start building a life that is not just stable on the outside, but truly free and abundant on the inside. You have the knowledge and the power to break the plateau and create a legacy of true wealth. The journey to financial independence starts with the very next dollar you decide to put into an investment instead of a luxury. Take that step today and watch as the ceiling disappears, revealing a future with no limits.